Valley Christian has been traveling to Nicaragua for 20 years. This is our story.
For those of you who've never been to Nicaragua or are new to the church and haven't the vision that we've had over the years, I want to encourage you because we started out just like you. We started out on the fence, not knowing if we were going to ever serve in the missionary field. Susie always wanted to, and I was the one that was the holdback on it there.
So when I first accepted the Lord, when I was 23 years old, my first missionary I heard was from the Amazon, and I was ready to go and be a missionary in Amazon. And then about 25 years later, God allowed me to go to Nicaragua. And He sealed my heart there with His heart. During the first church service, second song, I just started sobbing because I knew I was in the right place. I couldn't understand any Spanish at the time, but God verified that I was in the right place. This is where He wanted me. And that's where my love affair with Nicaragua came.
21 years we've been down in Nicaragua, and it's really been a life-changing experience for us because we started out building the orphanage, doing construction work, and then we branched out into the medical, and the two collaborate together, and we were able to do both at the same time. So it's been quite an experience because I've used the skills I have as far as a contractor, and she's used her skills as being a nurse, and it's worked out pretty well in our lives. So God's really shown us some amazing things throughout this time we've been down there.
Earl is, he's the lead pastor of Verbo Church down there in Managua and Puerto Cabezas. And just his faith over the entire congregation there. They've really got their hands, in ministry and really every level. They've got an orphanage that they're educating kids through. I mean, kids that don't have parents. They've got a Celebrate Recovery program that Earl and a lot of his elders lead and are a part of.
Celebrate Recovery is just a fantastic thing down there because they do have a lot of problems with drugs and alcohol. And Minor is the head of it, and he's one of the main guys that Earl depends on down there, and he's got a heart for the people because he was lost. He was on the streets, and he was having a tough times with drugs and alcohol.
The first night we got there, we landed, it was a Friday, and Celebrate Recovery meets that Friday, and Tim, one of the guys that we went with, he got to share his experience with the group from Celebrate Recovery. That night, Tim just shared his story and what God had done in his life. 3 people from that Celebrate Recovery meeting decided they wanted to surrender their life to Christ and got baptized. And what's nice, it's awesome there. The first thing they do when somebody raises their hand and surrenders to Christ there, it's just like, okay, time to get wet. We drove to this just beautiful riverfront, just sandy beach entrance, and just watched one of the elders in the church program there, Julio, baptize.
A couple of the elders of the church there that we work hand in hand with asked me and see if I would baptize, and it was kind of shocked me at first because it was their effort, what they were doing, but it was a real honor. It blessed me as much as it did them. And there's a place called Tuape. It's a little river that goes down. It's right close to where it goes into the ocean. It's just a beautiful setting in there. We were able to baptize there. It was just a powerful experience to see lives changed. And through that, they're really impacting the community. The community is just overwhelmingly supportive of it because there is such a problem with the drugs. We're really making an impact on it, and it's an honor to be a part of it.
The people are generous, they are faithful to the Lord, they are evangelists, they are prayer warriors, and they live under some extreme circumstances. Because when you live in poverty The only thing you have is the Lord. They know the Lord and what He can do. They have witnessed miracles. They have survived in extreme circumstances. And God has been faithful.
God just working miracles down there, and just so faithful. I mean, the faithfulness that these guys have to truly depend on God is so great, and it's so different than being a Westerner. I mean, when I'm hungry or run out of food in the fridge, I mean, we literally just load up and go to the store. I go to the store when I have a fridge full of food. I mean, they don't have that option down there. So their true dependence on the Spirit, I mean, is so real. It's so real.
Too big for you. In the sewing ministry, our mission, so to speak, is to work to support the missions that our church supports. For example, Nicaragua is one of them, and we want to be able to expand God's reach to some of those places that the children have never seen anything new, an item of clothing that they may only have one for a whole year, or they may have one for 5 years, we don't know. I get women who tell me, gee Liz, I can only sew a straight line, how could you use me? And I say, well, sewing is 90% straight line. So you come along and I will help teach you the rest of what you need to know, and you'll have fun with us. The mission is something that has goals that we need to fulfill in a timely manner. Everything is donated. We have people who will leave a bag of fabric that they got from their mother's estate or whatever. We make use out of everything that gets donated. I came up with an idea about cutting a little square pocket that we sew 2 of them together and put a yarn necktie on it, and it goes to the kids wherever these ministry people go. We send them with them. But they can put in there their favorite rock or something that spoke to them and have something of their own that you would think we would just, in America here, we would just throw it out. It's just left over, whatever. But God has really blessed those necklaces in going all around. I mean, I can't even envision how God used those little teeny pieces to mean something to people who never had anything. It's amazing what God can do with people who just say yes. And I want to say that not only for the sewing mission, but for the other ministries of the church. You may not think you can do something, but you can. You need to be God's hands and feet. If not you, who will?
And if we can just practically apply, I mean, just true dependence on God and be obedient to whatever the next step is, whether it's with your neighbor across the street from you, or if it's your coworker at the office, or if it's your spouse in your marriage, or your kids in that relationship. Just true dependence on really loving people and in the Spirit, just true dependence on the Spirit daily.
The heart of God is that we pray for one another. And the thing that amazes me is that we are given the opportunity to partner with the God of heaven, the King of kings, the Lord of lords, the creator of all things, the controller, the blessed Redeemer, to accomplish His will and His purpose here on this earth. So don't ever think that all I can do is pray, because that is the most important thing that we can do. and it touches the heart of God, and it moves His hand to do the things that He wants done here on this earth. So my prayer for you is that you pray, you seek out opportunities to be a missionary here at home and on the foreign field, and that you just sit back and enjoy the love and the presence of God as you do this.
Our missionary work is done right outside of our doors of our church. It's an open opportunity for you to step out. It's an open opportunity for you to be a part of the movement that's going on here at Valley.